Welcome back, adventurers. Ready for another deep dive?
Always up for a good exploration.
Excellent. Today we're going deep, really deep. We're talking about Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
A classic. Published in 1864, it was a time when what lay beneath the surface was, well, mostly a mystery, wasn't it?
Right. Verne, though, he didn't just tell a story, he speculated. Used the science of the day, geology, natural history, all that, and wove it into, well, this amazing narrative, a blend of hard science and imagination.
Absolutely. It's that blend that makes it so captivating. He takes what was known then and pushes the boundaries, creating this world that's both believable and utterly fantastical.
And at the heart of it all is Professor Otto Lidenbrock,
Brilliant.
but maybe a little obsessed, a geologist who finds this ancient document that kicks off the whole adventure.
Ah, yes. Not just any document, though. A runic message, coded, hidden away in an old Icelandic saga. And get this, it's supposedly written by Árni Saknussemm,
Saknov.
a 16th century alchemist who, get this, claimed to have found a passage to the center of the Earth through the crater of Snæfellsnes, a volcano in Iceland.
Talk about a discovery. I can see why Lidenbrock got, well, a little fixated, deciphering the message, planning this incredible journey. But he's so secretive about it all, too.
Right, like he's afraid someone's going to scoop him, steal his glory. It adds this whole layer of tension to the story. But it also tells us a lot about Lidenbrock, doesn't it? Ambitious, driven, this need to be the first.
But he's not going alone on this adventure, is he?
No, he drags his nephew Axel along. Our narrator, by the way.
Axel's a bit more, shall we say, relatable.
Yeah.
Young guy, in love, pretty content with life above ground, I'd say. Not exactly thrilled about this, well, potentially deadly expedition.
Understandably. I mean, who'd be eager to climb into a volcano? But Axel's reluctance is interesting, right? He's the voice of reason, always questioning his uncle's theories, voicing the fears we probably all have.
Makes you wonder, if he hadn't been dragged along, would we even have this story? But before the volcano, they've got quite the journey ahead of them. Across Europe, Germany to Copenhagen, then finally to Iceland.
And Verne doesn't skimp on the details, does he? Those descriptions, especially of the Icelandic landscape, they're incredibly vivid. You can tell he did his research incorporating the geology, the terrain, even the specific challenges of volcanoes and glaciers.
It's like you're right there with them, isn't it? Feeling the vastness, the beauty, but also, as they get closer to their destination, that sense of, I don't know, foreboding.
Oh, absolutely. And it just intensifies when they reach Snæfellsnes, this looming, imposing volcano. Almost like a dare to enter. Remember that landmark mentioned in Saknussemm's message? The shadow of a peak called Skartaris. It has to fall on the mouth of the crater before the kalends of July. Seems almost impossible to find, doesn't it?
Like a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. But Lidenbrock, with his scientific mind, his meticulous approach, he deciphers the clues, finds the entrance. It's a testament to his determination, but it also, well, it reveals this fascinating paradox.
A man of science relying on a cryptic message from, what, a 16th century alchemist?
It makes you think, right, about the interplay between science and, well, maybe even faith, logic and intuition, especially when you're dealing with the unknown.
And fueled by this conviction, they begin their descent into the heart of Snæfellsnes. This is where the journey truly becomes extraordinary.
It's like stepping into another world. Verne paints this picture of a vast, wondrous subterranean landscape, massive caverns, underground seas that stretch on forever, and creatures, prehistoric creatures somehow surviving deep beneath the Earth's surface.
It's mind-boggling. Giant mushrooms, forests that glow, a giant humanoid herding mastodons, like something out of a dream, but grounded in the scientific understanding of the time. The theory of a hollow Earth, for example.
Exactly. That's Verne's genius, isn't it? He takes what's known, what's speculated, and creates this tapestry of scientific plausibility and the utterly fantastical.
Makes you wonder what he would have imagined if he'd known what we know now about plate tectonics, the Earth's core, the incredible diversity of life in even the most extreme environments.
Absolutely. But his vision, even back then, it was groundbreaking, pushing the limits of imagination while still grounding his story in the science of his era.
But this journey, it's not all awe and wonder, is it?
No, there's danger lurking beneath the surface. As they venture deeper, they face dwindling supplies, get lost in the tunnels, and then there's that terrifying encounter with a giant sea monster. And that encounter, it's not just there for thrills, is it? It shows just how resilient these characters are. especially Axel. He goes from a hesitant follower to a brave, quick-thinking adventurer.
Yeah. It's really something to see him rise to the occasion. I mean, he starts off so unsure, but the journey, it forces him to face his fears, discovers a strength he didn't know he had.
Exactly. And it's not just physical courage, is it? He's curious, too, intellectually, questioning things, learning as he goes. Remember when he finds those fossilized remains, that ancient forest?
Oh, yeah, that was incredible. He's not just seeing these wonders, he's trying to make sense of them, putting together the pieces of this underground world's history, like a scientific awakening right alongside us, the readers.
And through his observations, Verne subtly, very subtly, critiques how much we humans can actually understand because, for all their scientific knowledge, they run into these phenomena that just defy explanation.
Like those glowing forests we talked about earlier,
Hmm.
completely outside the realm of, well, at least what they knew of science. So it forces them, and us, to question what we think we know about the natural world.
Exactly. And it's not just the fantastical stuff either. It's the sheer scale of it all. Those massive caverns, the oceans that seem to go on forever. It highlights just how much is out there that we don't know.
It's kind of humbling, isn't it? Like Verne is reminding us that we've barely scratched the surface, even with all our advancements, this whole world under our feet waiting to be explored.
And that sense of wonder, that's what keeps us coming back to this story. It taps into, I think, our basic human desire to discover things, to push beyond what we know.
To push boundaries. Which, speaking of, what about that wild ending? I mean, they go through all these challenges underground, and bam, suddenly they're shot out of a volcano.
And not just any volcano, Stromboli, in Italy. It's dramatic, kind of funny even, but it's symbolic too.
Like Verne saying, nature's in control, right? No matter how much they plan, use their science and logic, in the end, they're at the mercy of these powerful forces.
Absolutely. And the fact that they end up, well, in a completely different place than where they started, it highlights how everything's connected. What happens in one part of the world can have these, well, sometimes unexpected consequences in another.
A powerful message, especially now, with climate change and how our actions have a global impact. Like Verne, way back in the 1800s, was hinting at these complex systems we're only starting to understand.
It's true. And it's not just the science that resonates today, it's the themes. Perseverance, courage, adapting to, well, curveballs, those are always relevant, right? Like Axel's journey.
Totally. He goes from hesitant to, well, almost heroic. Reminds us that we can grow when things get tough.
And they do it together too, right? Relying on each other, using their different strengths. That teamwork, that's a big part of how they overcome these obstacles.
It's not just the professor's brains. They need Hans, too, their Icelandic guide. His practical knowledge, that connection to the land, they need each other.
Exactly. That teamwork, recognizing the value of different perspectives, that's a message that, well, that never gets old.
So, back to the surface they come. Changed by it all, but also kind of back where they started. A full circle.
A full circle, but not a closed one, right? They're different. What they saw, what they learned, it changed their understanding of the world. The wonder, but also the danger. And that's what stays with them. And with us as readers, long after we finish the book.
I think that's what strikes me the most. Journey to the center of the earth. It's an adventure, sure, but it also makes you think. About science, about nature, even about what it means to be human. It works on so many levels.
That's what makes it a classic. Kids can enjoy the adventure, adults, the deeper stuff, but for everyone, there's that curiosity, that courage, the power of, well, our imagination.
It leaves you wanting to explore more, literally and, well, figuratively. What's under the surface, not just of the earth, but of, how we understand the world and ourselves. It's amazing how Journey to the Center of the Earth still has that power. After all these years, it still makes us want to, well, go on our own adventures.
What do you think it is about this story that makes it so timeless? I think, at least in part, it's because it had such an influence on science fiction. Journey, it really helped to, lay the groundwork for this whole idea that exploring, pushing the boundaries of science, even if it gets a little fantastical, can still make for a great story.
Like Verne opened up this whole new world of possibilities for other writers. Suddenly, it's like the Earth itself became a setting, a place where you could explore and imagine.
Exactly. And you see it, don't you, in so many works that came after, from H.G. Wells' The Time Machine to, well, even more modern stuff like Jurassic Park. That hidden world full of wonder, full of danger. It's a theme that just keeps coming back.
I think it speaks to something in us, that curiosity about the unknown. We're drawn to stories that challenge our understanding of things.
And Journey, well, it does that masterfully. That blend of science, adventure, and suspense. Entertaining, but also it makes you think.
I love that Verne isn't afraid to add a little humor, too. Professor Liedenbrock, with his enthusiasm, but also, that stubborn streak. Such a great character.
Oh, he's definitely one of a kind. And I think Verne uses him to poke a little fun at, well, the more eccentric side of scientific passion. But you can't help but admire that dedication, to just keep pushing forward, keep discovering.
Like he represents that drive for knowledge, even when it seems, well, maybe a little crazy. And then there's Axel, who's a bit more, I guess, grounded.
Blech.
We see the more human side of that ambition through him.
Absolutely. Axel's transformation is really key, isn't it? He represents us, the readers. Skeptical at first, a little scared even, but then he gets drawn in by it all, by the wonder.
He learns to appreciate the discoveries, of course, but also just the beauty, the power of nature. A real awakening, like realizing that there's so much more to the earth than what's right in front of us.
And that brings us back to, well, transformation, the whole journey to the center of the earth. It's not just about, physically traveling. It's a journey of self-discovery, too. Axel, Professor Liedenbrock, they're both changed by what they go through.
They come back, I guess, with a new understanding of themselves, of the world around them.
A powerful message, isn't it? That facing those challenges, even, going into the unknown, can change you for the better.
It's something we can all connect with, whether it's exploring a new place, taking on a difficult project, or even just facing our own, well, our own fears.
And when you put it all together, that's what makes Journey to the Center of the Earth a classic. It speaks to something deep in us, that desire to explore, to discover, to understand. It reminds us there's always more to learn, more to see.
It leaves you with that feeling of, I don't know, awe
Oh.
and an appreciation for all the mysteries out there. And who knows, maybe someday some of Verne's ideas, those fantastical things, will turn out to be, well, not so fantastical after all.
The beauty of it all, right? Journey to the Center of the Earth, it's an invitation to embrace the unknown, to keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep imagining. That's a journey worth taking.
Well said. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into Journey to the Center of the Earth. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and, well, never lose that sense of wonder.